Hello and welcome to our monthly webinar series. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Wayne Martin, and this month I'll be walking you through Zoho Sites 2.0 and doing a full product overview. Before I get started though, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button below. It really helps us out. And here's a quick word from our sponsor, the Zoho team training courses we have to offer here at Zenatta.
Are you struggling to get your team trained in using Zoho effectively? Considering the hefty costs of team meetings and onboarding sessions dedicated to Zoho training, there has to be an easier way. Say hello to efficiency with our Zoho team training courses. Zoho CRM made easy. Become a project management pro, top-tier customer support, and maximize your marketing impact. Are you ready to equip your team? Start today at zenatta.com/training and let us lead the way.
So here's the agenda for this webinar. Today, I'm going to be breaking this webinar into 5 sections. The first 3 sections are going to be a bulk of the key information you're probably looking for. We always do an application overview. This gives a general summary of all of the different features and menu items within the application, in this case, Zoho Sites. The next part we're going to be looking at is we're going to dive a little deeper into the page settings and kind of go over the page overview. After that, we'll go ahead and take a look at the page builder itself with the visual builder. Then we'll take a brief look at the integrations that Zoho Sites has to offer. And then lastly, we'll kind of review the pricing and the plans. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the first section and go into the application overview. Okay, so to get started with this application overview, when you first come into Zoho Sites, you'll either have a website up and running because you've already been in this app. For those of you that this is your first time, you'd simply create a new website, give your website a name, and then choose the template that you think might best fit your business. But let's go ahead and jump back and we will dive into our Podcaster Zen example website here. If you aren't familiar with Podcaster Zen, this whole webinar is being produced by Podcaster Zen. A little shout out there. So let's go ahead and get started. So here you'll go ahead and see the opening dashboard. You can see we're on a trial here. This isn't a live website, how many pages you have, and your total space usage. And then you can see a general overview of your traffic. You also have the option here to connect a domain. This is a really nice built-in feature. Zoho Sites will provide you with a domain, so your business name at .zohosites.com. Or if you want to map your own domain, you can go ahead and do so here. Or if you don't even own your domain yet, but you want to manage it through Zoho to keep everything under one roof, Zoho provides this nice feature where you can go ahead and find your domain, make the purchase, registration, and everything directly through Zoho Sites, making this process very simple for you. So let's go ahead and go back. And next we will take a look at pages. So here you can manage the various landing pages on your website. You can manage the directory of how your pages are structured. And you can simply add pages here. We'll go into pages in more depth in this next section. Next, we have files. Here you can go ahead and upload all of the files and media assets you might need to have on your website so they're easily accessible. After that, if you're familiar with WordPress or other web builders, you always have pages and you have posts, generally speaking. This would essentially be your post for your blogs. So here we can go ahead and add a new blog post. And Zoho Sites gives you a nice template for your blog post. And if we go back, we can now see we have our first blog post. Also gives you the option to create categories. So you could have product announcements. Maybe for us, for this Podcaster Zen, we've got blogs about, syndication platforms, blogs on hardware, and we want to categorize these so that we can later filter based on the categories of the blogs we want to display on our landing pages. You can go ahead and add categories here. You can apply tags. And lastly, there are some built-in SEO features that you can do a sitemap for your blog and give it your blog section a title and a description. Next, we have forms. Now, generally speaking, if you have Zoho 1, you probably are going to want to use Zoho Forms. However, if you're just, only using Zoho Sites and you're just trying to get your site up and running, Zoho provides a nice form builder here. And you can go ahead and, create your contact us landing page form. And it's a nice whizzy drag and drop builder that you can go ahead and create your form. Let's go ahead and hop back. Next, we have subsites. So subsites are going to be like your subdomains of the site. These are great for maybe you want to build your website and, you're doing business in another country as well. And you want to also cater to all of, your clients, say over in Germany, and you want to make a Dutch-based website. You can go ahead and put, build a subsite all in German off of your main site. So nice little feature here. This is one of the newer features with Zoho Sites 2.0. Next, let's go ahead and dive into the manage. So here you can go ahead and add code snippets for your site. So maybe like, for example, we're going to be using Zoho Forms a lot, and we have the embed code snippet we want to dump into our landing pages. Rather than having to go find that and then put that into every landing page, you can go ahead and create a little library of your code snippets here. Next, we have photo albums. Here you can go ahead and manage all of the photos you want to share with people, so you can put all your photos in one place and make them easily accessible to put on your landing pages. Next, we have dynamic content. So let's say you have like a Zoho Creator app that you want to embed in a landing page. You can go ahead and connect your dynamic content through here. After that, we've got comments. So usually these are turned off because bots, seem to overrun the comments on the websites. But if you wanted to go ahead and add a comment thread to your website blogs, you could go ahead and turn that on here. Next, let's take a look at fonts. So here you can go ahead and see all of the various fonts Zoho has to offer. However, if you wanted more fonts, you can always upgrade your plan and add custom fonts. And don't worry, at the end, we'll go ahead and go over all the pricing plans that Zoho has to offer. And when I say all, there's two. And then lastly, if you delete different items, like I created a blog post earlier and deleted it, you can go ahead and see all of your deleted items in the trash. And you can go ahead and permanently delete them here. Next, we have templates. So templates are a quick way if you want to build a landing page and make other landing pages like it. You can do so with the template builder, and it makes it really quick to rinse and repeat when creating new landing pages. Next, we have the visual editor, which we will dive into in a separate section. This is going to be your page builder. Go ahead and discard for now. And then we have our code. So here you can go ahead and enter custom CSS for the entire website. You can put in header code and footer code. There are sections in a second that we'll go over that also allow you to connect things like Google Tag Manager, analytics, and those various things, but you can also put your generic header and footer code here. Next, we have configuration. So you have your site options here. You can put in your site name, the subheading. This will appear if you were to show this in the menu bar to the top left. You can go ahead and enter your logo, your favicon, which is going to show up here at the top. Your comment box preferences, turning on email notifications. If you want to connect your email, you can turn on the show CAPTCHA spam protection to prevent the spam in the comment boxes, which if you're going to turn comments on, I would recommend. You can turn on the moderation, and you can go ahead and also, currently we have all users can add comments, but if you had a portal, you can go ahead and turn on who can comment. But since we don't have a portal enabled, which we'll go over in a second, all we're seeing is the option for all users can add comments. So if you want to go ahead and unpublish the site, you can go ahead and do so here, but it has to be published first. And if you want to transfer the site, you can go ahead and transfer ownership to another Zoho user account here. And if you want to delete the website, maybe you have one project you can have access to, and this project's, you want to end it, you can go ahead and delete the site here and start over back on the home screen we just went over in the very beginning. Next, we have blog preferences. So here you can go ahead and see the blog title, the URL, and generally speaking, this is going to be the default URL, but maybe you want to change it around. You can hide the footer or show the footer on all of your blog feeds. You can enable an RSS feed. You can see on the main blog page how many posts you want to show per page. It offers up to 20. Next, you can turn on email notifications. If this is turned on, when someone comments on your blog post, you can go ahead and turn on notifications. You can turn on spam protection, which if you have the comments turned on, I would highly recommend. You can turn on moderation, much like the site option page. And the allowed users, which I went over if you have the portal. You can blog as a homepage and set your blogs as a homepage if you're just a content-heavy driven website. You can go ahead and import blogs from Blogger or WordPress. So let's say you are migrating from WordPress and you have a ton of blogs on WordPress. You can go ahead and import that blog. I believe it's an XML file to import. And same, if you want to go ahead and export your blogs, you can go ahead and export your blogs. Maybe you've scaled up and you need some custom integrations that Zoho Sites doesn't offer. And you might, the plugins available at WordPress are just simply, there's just more of them, more extensions, more things are available. And, you want to leave Zoho Sites down the road, you have at least this feature to export all of your blogs, which is nice. And then you can go ahead and delete all blog posts here as well. This is slightly dangerous. You don't want the wrong person just deleting all of your content. So also maybe not a bad idea to do some regular exports as well, just in case you accidentally delete everything. So next we have the message bar. The message bar allows you to display an important message at the top or the bottom of your site when a user comes in. So you can go ahead and enable your message bar, put the message bar content, add some basic styling to it. You can add an agree button label and then go ahead and add the theme. You only have 2 choices and then top or bottom for the positions. You also have cookie bars. So, a lot of us in the EU, you will need to enable the cookie bar to just follow general GDPR guidelines of letting users know that cookies are being tracked on this website and giving them the option to turn this on or off. And then same as before, you've got the different theme options and then the positioning top or bottom for the cookie bar. So next, let's go ahead and jump into menus. So here you can go ahead in the nav bar menu. You can add the various nav bar menu landing pages you want to add here. You can add a menu. And you can go ahead and change the links, add it before or after, and then go ahead and edit the order of the menu bar. Next, we have region. So here you can go ahead and set the default language for your website. There is a lot of different choices you can choose from. And there are, for some of these, right to left support. Next, you can choose the region. And then based on the region, you can choose text direction, or I should say language. Here you can choose the time zone, date format, and time format. And then for language, you can go ahead and add additional languages as well if you want some options. Maybe we have a lot of customers that speak Spanish, and we can go ahead and choose the region and add it as a language option for the site. Next, we've got our domain and SSL. So if you want to go ahead and add more domains, you can map your domain by new. I kind of covered this in the beginning, but here you can go ahead and add a domain. And the SSL layer, you can go ahead and get a certificate through Zoho, or you can go ahead and install your own SSL. Next, we've got some SEO features. So you can go ahead and add some crawler text here. You can set your 301 redirect. If a page can't be found, it will forward them to a different landing page. You can go ahead and add in your Google Analytics, your meta tag, and your Google Tag Manager IDs here. So rather than, like I was saying earlier in the code section, you can go ahead and add some of those key features here. Same with Bing. You can go ahead and enable your sitemap. So this will go ahead and give you a whole breakdown of your entire website and all the landing pages. Next, you can go ahead and add a verification file. And lastly, for the schema generator, if you're going to use some markup for SEO, you can go ahead and use the schema generator here. Fortunately, we don't have access on the trial plan, but it is included with, I believe, the pro plan. Next, you've got social media. You can go ahead and turn on the various social profiles you want to add and then enable the social icons on the top bar or floater. So you can go ahead and add in all of your social media preferences here for all the various platforms, or even create custom ones as well. When you make a blog post, you can go ahead and turn on social share. This will allow you to go ahead and give users the option, if they read your blog and really like it, a quick way to click on a link and share this blog post on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it may be, X. And then you have social auto publish. So you can go ahead and automatically publish to your social media accounts when a new blog is posted. But if you're using Zoho Social, you might want to flare it up a little and add some, custom text of your own and make those social posts through Zoho Social. But if you just want to automate this whole process, you can also do that here. And then you can go ahead and see the social preview image, and you can go ahead and set a preview image here as a default image. And then remember, it's a 16:9 ratio for those thumbnails. Next, we have roles and permission. So if you wanted a portal for Zoho sites, this is a very nice feature built in. The portal will essentially give user access. They even have, with the advanced plans, you can turn on single sign-on with a Facebook account or Google account, so they can just log in through their the accounts they already have created, rather than having to create a new account, through Zoho sites and another password to manage. And then this way you can go ahead and set up permissions on various pages. So maybe only members can get access to certain pages. You can go ahead and turn this on and manage it all through this members portal here. And then you can manage your members, categorize them in groups, and turn on notifications for your members. Next, you have contributors. So here are the users that can go ahead and manage and add to the website. And you can go ahead and set up your various roles, add a contributor, and, give them permission to edit, view different landing pages. So it'd be similar to access like what the guests can access on the portal if you had the portal turned on. Then you've got access control. So, anyone can access this website, or you can make it organization level or org public, or limit it to members. So here you can go ahead and manage those settings back here. Same with the blog. Who's going to be able to view your blogs? Maybe it's members only. You can go ahead and set that. And then you can password protect your whole website, or just password protect certain pages and set a default access password to your website. Next, here we have our integrations, which we'll cover at the end of this webinar. And then lastly, there are some built-in reports. This will show you page visits, how many people are visiting your pages, the various page views, and where they're coming from, organic, social media, so on. And lastly, wrapping up this section, you have SEO reports. This is a cool built-in feature. So if we wanted to look at, say, like our homepage, we could view report. And this will give you like an overall snapshot of that landing page, the main page name, the content analysis. It takes a quick look at like, this is the template, but what keywords are being used, the total word count, ideally for SEO over 300 words, number of images like on your landing page without alt text. The alt text is important. It gives a basic description of the landing page. You would go ahead and say, hey, I need to update those 5 images for my SEO. Number of links, internal and external, build those backlinks. And then readability score, how long are your sentences? Are you using a lot of passive voice? Are you not using a lot of transition words? All of these things are very, important when it comes to SEO. Though Google doesn't tell us exactly what metrics they use for SEO, we have a basic understanding by now of what Google is expecting, and tools like Yoast, SEMrush, provide very similar metrics that they're looking for on these landing pages. So you can go through your various landing pages and make improvements to them based on these reports. And here you can go ahead and see the breakdown, what's missing. So very, very cool built-in tool. For WordPress users, a lot of use Yoast. You're going to be paying premium dollar for that extension annually, and this is one of those features that's built in to the monthly plan of Zoho sites. And then you can look at heading distribution. As you want your main H1 tag with then only a few H2s, and you kind of want to tier your content. It gives you a snapshot of the images without alt text that we were just talking about. There's no keyword analysis on here, but keep in mind you only want to use one keyword per landing page, and you don't want to have the same keyword on multiple landing pages. So here you can go ahead and analyze, how the keyword would perform. Is it on any other landing pages? And it gives you a snapshot of your internal links and find broken links and external and so on. And then any social sharing, you get the information down here. So overall, this tool is, I think, a really great feature add inside of Zoho Sites. And definitely if you're using Zoho Sites, you should be using this SEO reports tool often after you build a landing page. That's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this first section of the application overview. Now let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at the page overview. Okay, so for the page overview section, let's take a quick look at how Zoho structures their sites. So most back-end web builders, you're going to be able to view all of your various landing pages. Here you can go ahead and add a directory to stack your pages into various categories. Maybe you wanted a contact us group of landing pages that's going to have the breadcrumb members or, users dash, and then maybe it's, the various users landing pages for all of the team members on your website that, someone might be contacting. You could structure them back here with the directory. So you can see the various landing pages that come with the default template. If you use edit page info, here you can go ahead and change the page name, what you want the URL to be. So it would be, the site name /contact. You can go ahead and if you want to change the default homepage, maybe you're building a new homepage on the back end, but your current homepage was good enough. But until you got the new one up, you wanted to keep the old one up. So once you finished building the new one, you could go ahead and change that here. And, as we ended the last section, we talked about SEO. Here you can go ahead and on a Google search, this would be the page title. So, contact us. You can do contact us for your podcast today. So that would show up on the Google search. You can go ahead and add the keyword, ideally one, and then you would want to put in the description here. And by one, I mean one set of keywords. So contact us for your podcast. You could even use something like that. And then the description is going to be what's going to show up on Google under the title. So, we could put something like, something like that. And ideally a best practice, though it doesn't have a counter here, is about 120 characters. Next, you can, if you don't want the page to be crawled, maybe this is a page you don't want, people searching on Google to find, you can go ahead and turn on some crawler instructions here. Included in the sitemap or not. So this is kind of following similar to the crawling. So next we have frequency. So this will allow the crawlers to, let them know how frequently you want your website to be crawled or this landing page to be crawled. So if you're making edits to it frequently, maybe you want this higher as always or weekly or monthly, just depending on how frequently you're making changes to those pages. So none is probably not the best unless you don't want it crawled at all. Maybe once it's done, it only needs to be crawled once. And you could say, none, but you can also set it to never, weekly, hourly. So maybe on some of your landing pages, you might change monthly or something. You can go ahead and change the frequency. You can set the priority of the importance of the page here. Next, you can go ahead and see the page details. So we have the hero banner. The hero is going to be the very top section of your website where the nav bar sits. So maybe this is going to be a landing page that you don't want people navigating around your website. You're running an email campaign. You can go ahead and turn off the hero banner. You can show a page specific hero banner if you have more pages than just, more hero banners than just the one. You can go ahead and show the menu bar. So you can go ahead and turn it off. And you can also turn on or turn off the sidebar if you have one as well. And then you can show a page specific sidebar if you have multiple sidebars. And then you can go ahead and drop a thumbnail in here as well for a social post. It will go ahead and pull up the thumbnail to display, much like the blog post, but this is also available for your landing pages. And when you got any header or footer code that might be specific to this landing page in particular, you can go ahead and add it here. But remember, if it's going to be site-wide, just go ahead under the configuration and add it there to the site-wide code options for header and footer. So let's go ahead and discard. And then next, we can go ahead and edit content for the landing page. That's going to take us into our visual builder. So if we click into that, we have the visual builder, which we'll be going over shortly here in this next section. And then lastly, you can change access control on who can edit and see these landing pages. So you can go ahead and set that here. And then you can go ahead and see the various versions of the landing page and when they were edited. So you got the current version, but if you wanted to go back to an older version that was published, you could always do that here quickly. So that's going to wrap it up for the page overview. Let's go ahead and dive into the builder. Okay, for this next section, let's go ahead and dive into the visual editor. So you can hop in there from any of the pages, or you can hop in there from the customization into the visual editor. Let's go ahead and just take a look at the contact page, and we can go ahead and hit edit content. This will go ahead and pull up the visual editor. So I'm going to go into two sections. This section is going to be kind of split. I'm going to go over the builder here, and then where your global settings are as well for the visual editor. So, and then on the previous section, we covered the edit page info. This is just a quick way to go into each specific landing page's page info to edit it. So if you're not familiar with the builder, the way that these site builders work is you have a top section, and then you have, which is called section, and then you can have spacers. So it's usually your section, and then within the section, you can add various columns to split the content. And you're going to have different blocks that you can drop into these sections or these columns to kind of put the content that you're looking for. So to access the elements, you can go ahead and add a section here. You can go ahead and save a section. So let's say I really like this section and I might want to use it in other sections. You can simply click on the section itself and then save a section. You can go ahead and add elements. So if we click on elements here, we can go ahead and see the various elements we can add. And, you know, with the sections, you can choose some templated sections too. Like, hey, I want to add a section with, you know, some headshots here and, you know, some team members on the contact us page, because that's, you know, I want people to know who they're going to be working with. You can go ahead and quickly add a section here. So back to the elements, you know, you've got your headers, you've got your paragraph text, you've got your images, you can add icons, add a button, you know, like contact us button. Well, that would already be on this landing page, but maybe like, you know, learn more would be like a common button you might use. You know, you've got your carousel that's going to rotate content, maybe testimonials, your tabs, your accordion, you know, things that open and close. Tabs, you know, they can tab across the various sections, and you can put different elements based on the tabs. You can change the tab name, like employees, leadership, and, you know, a new overview. Yeah, I would never put something like this on a website, but to kind of show you, then you can add in, you know, the various elements within each tab. And if we go back to the elements, you have dividers, you know, adding some space, adding some buffering in between the sections or in between elements within, you know, the sections. And then you've got various other drop-ins you can add, like Google Maps, an audio file, a video embed, maybe a table. You can drop your iframes in, the code snippets we mentioned earlier, which aren't allowed in this element here. But if you had your code snippet saved, you could go ahead and drop in a code snippet, the newsletter menu, and social profiles. You can go ahead in the various apps like the comment box, the social share, maybe a calendar link to Zoho Bookings. You've got a direct integration to Zoho Bookings. You can add some dynamic content. So this will go ahead and pull other information like RSS feeds to pull it in. If we go back to elements, and you can add a social profile, etc. Oops, got lost there. Went back to elements. We're in apps, and you can go ahead and add your Instagram feed as well. And then lastly, we've got forms. So as I touched on earlier, you've got the built-in forms with Zoho sites, but you can also, add a CRM web form, a Zoho form, a Zoho begin form, or if you wanted to drop in a survey, you could drop in a survey directly into your site very simply with any of these form integrations that are built into Zoho sites. So it's going to cover elements, forms. You can go ahead and hop into the page information. If you wanted to create a new page altogether, you can do so quickly from here and add all the information for the new page. And if you wanted to add a new blog post real quick, you could go ahead and leave this and jump straight into a new blog post page as well. And within the elements, you can click on each section. Each section will have this little settings tab here. That will go ahead and give you more information on what you can edit within the section. Within the element or within the section. So you can go ahead and, change the tag information from heading. Maybe you want to make it H3 to smaller. The alignment, the style. You can go ahead and add some animations. Maybe we want it to, come in. So we can add like a slide down so it'll drop in as they're coming down the page. You can add some custom CSS for this section. Visibility, maybe, some elements look really great on desktop, you'll find out, but maybe you have a higher like mobile audience, that's going to be viewing your landing pages. You can turn off certain things from showing on mobile devices if it's going to show broken. Or maybe you have two sections here, we're going to duplicate this. One section's only going to show on desktop, but the exact same section is slightly modified to look better on mobile. Maybe we don't want the extra images because they're going to stack on mobile and it's going to make it look weird. So you can go ahead and edit what devices, this is going to show on. You got some JavaScripts that you can go ahead and add a function here as well. One thing I want to point out though, is like we were clicked on the element there. We might want to go up, one more into like a section, for example. And the section itself is what we would want to go ahead and, hide or turn off, generally speaking, as far as showing it on a device. Within this too, here you can go ahead and delete a whole section. You can go ahead and, remove a section. You can, copy a section. So maybe I like this format and I made some changes to the styling here. And now I'm ready to add some more team members. So I went ahead and copied the section, and now I can go ahead and quickly hit paste and go ahead and add those sections there. Within this, it's really just something you're going to have to play around. I could spend a lot of time on this builder and creating a custom website, but all of the tools, if I wanted to add an element, I can quickly do so like that within a section. They've got all of the elements and things quickly accessible for you, so you can make changes fast and, change the various elements of the page easily without having to know a bunch of HTML to customize your website. Remember, this overview is just an overview. This is an actual deep dive in how to build a website, but a ton of robust, easy features that are, quickly accessible within Zoho sites, much like other page builders like Elementor. Maybe not as many tools and features as Elementor, but you can still make plenty of changes and adjust the website as you see fit using the tools available. Now, you might also be wondering, how do I adjust, some global settings when I'm making a landing page? You can come over here and click on the visual editor, and this is going to pull up some global site settings. So here you've got presets, which color schemes I want to use. Maybe I want to, completely change and add my own branding color schemes. You can do so here and kind of see, what the color schemes are working with. We'll give this a second as it loads. So you can go ahead and change the whole site, look and feel instantly with these global settings. You can add header styles, how do I want the top menu nav bar to look? and that will change the look and feel of the nav bar. You can change, the portal position, like for them to have access to the portal in the menu bar and the top bar. You can change the theme, with the text. Like there are some limitations to the customization, but most of these default settings are good enough. The header on scrolling, do you want it fixed where it's just sitting on the top, or do we want it floating? As we scroll down the page, the nav bar is going to go follow the user as they're navigating down the page. So now as I scroll, we can see that there's a nav bar that's floating down the page as we're scrolling, giving them quick, easy access to navigate through our site. If you got features like the banner, what style do you want it boxed? Do you want it full width, when you're adding a banner? The footer, the text options for the footer, the blog list. How do you want your blogs displayed on the blog page? Do you want to show the authors of each blog? Some blog post customization, what's the format when users are going to go in and, click on a blog post. You can't really customize your own, but you can go ahead and they've given you some nice templates to choose from. Breadcrumbs, do you want to show how you want to show the breadcrumbs of the various landing pages? So when you click on a page and it's, rooted into another page and so on, you can go ahead and change how the breadcrumbs look, whether it's double slashes or arrows. And then you've got some advanced settings. You can set your various headers here. So for the light theme and dark theme, you can go ahead and choose the text, the font size, make adjustments to your general paragraph text, your image text. So you can go ahead and go through all of these various settings and customize, what color scheme you want to use, what font sizes, is it bold, is it italicized, especially if you're going to be doing, various landing pages following similar styles. It's always good to have a uniform style. If you're going into the text and manually changing each little section to look good, you're going to have a bunch of landing pages that don't match up because you might have used 36 fonts, italicized on one page for a header 3, but then on the next page you're using 48. It's always good to have uniform changes and use the default header settings and then coming back here and making changes, because maybe down the road you decide to update your branding. Rather than having to go through every landing page and make those adjustments, you can do so back here. That way, if our branding did change, I can make some global setting changes really fast. And say I had 100 landing pages, I don't have to worry about going through and updating every single one of those. I can come back here and make all of the adjustments I need across the entire site to go ahead and go into effect. So could go into all of these, but you get the general idea of you can have a lot of various options to customize the various elements of your website on a global setting. That's going to wrap it up for the page visualization builder. Let's go ahead and take a look at the integrations that Zoho Sites has to offer. All right, we're getting close to the end here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the integrations. So by default, Zoho has 4 Zoho applications that integrate with Zoho Sites, and they've got the Google Cloud Translate. This will offer a translation service for your website. You can simply click Open App. Click here. This will go ahead and give you the instructions. Once you get the JSON file, you can go ahead and upload the key here, and that will go ahead and activate that for your website. You've got the Zoho Sales IQ chatbot. So if you wanted to go ahead and integrate the chatbot to your website, they've got this nice integration here. You can just go ahead and choose and hit connect, and then the tracking code is saved and connected. You've got PageSense. I know we don't give PageSense a lot of love lately, but from my experience, the integration with Zoho Sites and PageSense actually works. So you can go ahead and open the app, select your portal and your project and connect them. And you can get live heat map traffic, where the users are coming from. You can see, what devices they're using. So you can get a lot of, critical information to make judgment calls on how you might build your website or change landing pages and make adjustments based on the analytics that PageSense gives. We don't have a domain active, so I can't really show you how the marketing automation feature works. But if we look into marketing, if you've been in marketing automation and looked at it, you can go ahead. Some of the features like website analytics, like from PageSense, You can get a lot of those directly pulled in on the interactions and the campaigns you send out. When they're connected, you can do the web-based traffic page tools that marketing automation has to offer with your various campaigns and journeys. And then lastly, with the portal, you can go ahead and connect members to your CRM using this CRM connection. This is mainly for the portal here. And remember, like I said before, the dynamic contents to pull in like creator, custom integrations you want to do, you can do that under dynamic content here and add dynamic content app. So that's going to wrap it up for integrations. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up and jump into pricing. Okay, so as far as pricing goes, the pricing is actually really competitive. Even for this pro version here, most hosting sites for WordPress, they're going to run about $20, $25 a month on average just for a WordPress hosting. And Zoho sites, they've got the starter plan. If you just have a basic 5-page website, you can get most of everything you need in the starter plan for $5 a month, which is dirt cheap. I mean, for $60 a year, that is some killer pricing for a website to be hosted. You can see the bandwidth and most of these numbers if you're a starter business, most of these numbers you're not going to have to really worry about for a basic site, and then you've got the pro plan. So you've got everything that's included with the pro plan for $17 a month, which is dirt cheap. 50 landing pages. Most people are going to go over 10 to 20 landing pages. 100 gigs of data is plenty of storage. Unmetered bandwidth is great, so you can have tons of traffic and you don't have to worry about it. 100 megabytes file size, very unlikely you're going to go over this, and I wouldn't recommend having a file loading that large on your website anyways. Send them to your work drive folder link to download something that large. Photo gallery, 200 photos might be a little bit limiting for your photo gallery, but you can go ahead and add contributors, have up to 5 menus. And then you see your page versions, so you can go back on your page versions. You can custom domain hosting. Both are ad free. It includes an SSL with both. You can add code snippets with both. You've got single page sites. You can go ahead and turn that on for both. Some of the social features, the redirects, you've got with the pro plan here. You can, both come with blogs, both, you can add the Zoho CRM forms. Sales IQ integration, the element animations that we touched on. Premium elements come with both, audio player, the comment box, the scheduled blog post, the newsletter subscription. Most of these too, if you're gonna be using Zoho 1, you're gonna have some of these things with other tools anyway. So if you need a simple site, some of these things with Zoho 1, you're gonna be fine with. I usually recommend comment boxes not being on anyways, so you're not missing out on a whole lot of these features down here that are included with both plans. The member portal, two are included with the Zoho Sites Pro plan here, and then you can turn on password protection as well with the Pro plan and the access restriction. And then for the portal, you're looking at $60 per member per year, which is a little bit pricey, but depending on how you're using it, this would be tied into their subscription for the site. And if you want to add more than, 5 or 50 additional pages, you can go ahead and here's the pricing for all of the limited features that you have. So that's going to wrap it up for the pricing. I do want to state, if you are going to have, say, a very large portal or some really complex website stuff going on, Zoho sites might not be for everyone, especially if you're a larger organization. I would probably recommend WordPress just because of the robust features WordPress has to offer. Portal options like Z portals, if you're not going to be integrating that pricing plan into the cost of the portal, Z portals is a much cheaper, greater option. Also, if you're e-commerce, you've got Zoho Commerce, which doesn't really integrate with Zoho sites, but you'd build your own commerce landing page. But if you're doing a commerce site, you would want to look at Shopify or WooCommerce. WooCommerce will integrate in with WordPress, or maybe even just go with a Magenta site that's going to be Adobe. I just wanted to show everything that Zoho Sites has to offer in this webinar, but keep in mind, if you're looking for a more robust website, be sure to check out some of those other platforms as well, because there are some limitations with Zoho Sites. But for the very basic and average users and smaller organizations, Zoho Sites is a great product and probably has most of what you need. That's going to wrap it up for this webinar. I hope you found this video on Zoho Sites useful. If you did, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button below. If you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the comments section. We do our best to answer them weekly. You can also head over to clubs.zenatta.com. This is our online forum and community where you can ask your questions to the community and maybe even get a quicker response. You'll also find plenty of other Zoho users on there that are constantly helping one another out, code shares and news and more. For additional resources, visit our resource library, zenatta.com/resources. And if you're looking for some excellent resources to train your entire team in 7 days or less on Zoho CRM, Zoho Desk, Zoho Projects, or Zoho Campaigns, go ahead and check out our training resources at zenatta.com/training. Until next time, have a great day.